All right, welcome everybody. My name is Jason Steen. I'm with the Jason's Advocacy Corner. Thanks for joining us today. And today we have Ryan Berry with Arizona Achieve.
Hi,
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ryan.
hi everybody. My name is Ryan Berry. I work with the Arc of Tempe, and I'm the project director for Arizona Achieve. Arizona Achieve is Arizona's cross-disability self-advocacy coalition. It's founded by the Arc of Tempe in partnership with the Arc of Arizona and sponsored by ADDPC. So what Arizona Achieve does is it brings together disability organizations from all across Arizona to work together on self-advocacy goals.
All right. And how'd you get involved in this work, Ryan?
Wow. So I don't know how far you want me to go back, but so for me, I am a person with a disability. In 2009, I was 8 years old. I was diagnosed with a minor type of cerebral palsy called spastic diplegia. And it's a little, a lot of people don't notice that I have an impairment, like many impairments, but that was kind of where my passion for disability work started. As I got older, I became more political. I did a lot more political work. I graduated from ASU with a degree in political science, and I know that I wanted to apply the things I learned throughout my career up to that point for disability advocacy and disability work.
Well, we got some things in common because I have cerebral palsy too. I have I have a little bit more severe case, obviously, but I have a died quite well. Anyway, it's more severe. And then also I also have a degree in political science.
Oh wow!
So from the University of Houston. So and then I went to law school, and that's how I ended up here. But it's interesting the correlations there. So so what are some of the key things with self advocacy, and what do you guys focus on the most, or what's the biggest focus for you guys right now?
So I think the biggest focus for us right now, in terms of the coalition, is probably transportation. But in terms of the overall biggest goal of Arizona Achieve, I'd really say it is teaching self-advocacy skills and putting together a curriculum that will not just require in-person training, but can be accessible to everyone. Because before you really have spread awareness and focus on disability issues, you have to learn how to advocate for yourself. And so that's why right now at Arizona Achieve, we're adapting self-advocacy teaching materials to both workbooks that can be done in person and also online videos. But right now Arizona Achieve is also doing trainings across Arizona. And this is really helping us hone in the self-advocacy curriculum and activities that when we want to adapt to an online format. And that should be available pretty soon here.
All right. Where are some of those? Where are some of the trainings going to be held?
So the next training that we have is going to be in Kearney at the Pinal County Arc. It's going to be next week, November 28th. I don't know when this video will be posted. It might be posted a little after that or before. But the trainings we have after that, we're planning a training in Mojave County. And we're also planning a self-advocacy training up in Tuba City, working with the Northern Arizona Tribal Disability Coalition.
And do you find each region has its own problems when it comes to self-advocacy?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry. Do you find that each region has its own problems when it comes to self-advocacy? Like you
Yes.
mentioned, you're up in Tuba City. I imagine it's a different, they have different obstacles.
Yeah, there's, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, there's different self-advocacy topics, where we're going to present that they prefer that we focus on. For example, with Tuba City, up with the Northern Arizona Tribal Disability Coalition. A topic that we're planning to focus on up there is just disability awareness in general, because disability is not really a topic that's talked about a lot on the Navajo Nation. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis put on, what disability is, and how disability advocacy and disability culture and the community around it is really important.
All right, that sounds pretty cool. What do you think, or what do you want to see going forward with? What do you think you want to? How do you want? How do you see the movement going forward as far as the self advocacy movement? What do you think are some of the things you would like to accomplish?
So I think the main thing right now is, I think, just creating overall visibility for people with disabilities in Arizona and disability issues. I think a lot of people forget that disability is more than just a diagnosis. It's a culture, it's a community, and I think it's really important that people with different types of disabilities work together to advocate on disability issues. Because I think a lot of the obstacles, like transportation, that we're focusing on right now for the coalition, obstacles like that is something, it requires the whole community to come together as a joint effort, because we really need to work together to achieve real solutions in Arizona.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there because I see a lot of people come up to me and think I know all about disability issues. And I do know a lot, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just because I'm disabled doesn't mean I know about being blind or and there's different obstacles for each of those. So we need to bring awareness to all those things, especially in transportation. Because if you look at like if you're blind, you have different obstacles than if you're in a wheelchair. Like you need a car with a ramp and whatever. So you can't just call Uber and ask them for a ride. It takes a little a little bit more effort and stuff. And they have different obstacles too. Like I can see everything and they can't. So everybody has their own. Just because like we both have CP, but we have different challenges as well. So it's interesting, but about the awareness and stuff, because people think just because I know a guy in a wheelchair, and they think my situation is the same, and sometimes it's not. But I appreciate them, trying to help and whatever. But it's just it's interesting. Um, you mentioned you work with the legislators at the at the legislators as well in the past. I've heard you say that you did that. Do you see any problems with the RTS system and how it works for people with disabilities?
Oh, absolutely. I think the way the RTS system works now, I mean, you can, a lot of the option for people with disabilities is calling the assistance of uh, legislators in the Senate or in the House and having them sign into the RTS system for you. But not all assistants do that at the legislature, and that's kind of something that isn't really common knowledge and isn't really advertised. That you can actually call ahead and ask assistants to register the request to speak system for you. It's not advertised on their website or anywhere else. It's sort of insider information. Uh, Obviously, for a lot of people with disabilities, it's hard to make it down to the state's capital. Uh, you know, to register an account for that system. I really think that the way that the RTS system works now, the request to speak system, I think it excludes a large part of Arizona's population. I mean, 13% of people in Arizona have a disability, and so potentially that's a lot of people that are barred from participating in a really important process.
Yeah. Um. and you mentioned those legislative systems and different ways people can advocate. And I know we were talking before about, some people can write letters, some people can do different things. I was watching a program yesterday. It was more about women and their fight for equal pay and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, and they were talking about the small victories that each generation has to do to get to where they're at. And for me, as a self advocate, I want to improve the system so the person after me can work upon that, and because I want them to have a better experience than I did. So, what is your ultimate goal as a self advocate and as a leader of this group?
I mean, the overall goal is to start a self-advocacy movement in Arizona, and I think that you're absolutely right. There's a lot to be had in those small victories. For instance, like the issue of transportation. Right now, we're working with groups like the Northern Arizona Tribal Disability Coalition, and also groups in the larger Phoenix metro area, like People First of Arizona. And so we're bringing together people with different types of disabilities to spread awareness on common issues like transportation. And obviously, in a year or 2 years, it's not like these issues are going to be solved for everybody right away. But I think there's a lot to be had in those small victories. For instance, like up in Tuba City, where a lot of the Tribal Disability Coalition lives, transportation is a huge problem up there. And there a lot of, and transportation issues are different for different people around the state. But up on the Navajo Nation, it's almost a transportation desert up there. There's no way to get in and around Tuba City. There's a lack of bus drivers and a lot of closed bus routes in and around the Navajo Nation. And right now, we're working on a video with the different self-advocacy groups on Arizona, just to provide awareness on this issue, to let people know that there is a real problem happening, not just in the Phoenix metro area, but in rural areas like Tuba City. And I think even getting together and making a video like that, those are the small victories that I think will lead to hopefully larger solutions for these big issues.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience before we take off, before we end this thing?
I think I would say to everybody that so hold on. Sorry, I got to think about what I have to say. I'm sorry if I have to make you edit some parts out. I'm sorry about that. But so I think what I would say is that Arizona Achieve, it's a self-advocacy coalition. Anybody can be a member, any person with a disability. It's not just people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. We're welcoming self-advocates across the disability spectrum. We're working on many different programs at Arizona Achieve. We have coalition meetings on the first Friday of each month at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So over Zoom, so Arizona self-advocacy groups come together to work on disability issues. We also have a peer mentorship program that is in its early stages, where we match people in the roles of mentor and peer to work towards self-advocacy goals. And then lastly, we have our big project that we're working on right now, which is our self-advocacy leadership training program. So this program, it teaches what self-advocacy means, and it shows you how to become a strong self-advocate leader. So currently we're doing training sessions on self-advocacy topics across Arizona, and these training sessions are hybrid, which means that you can obviously go to them in person, but also attend over Zoom. So I would encourage people to go to our website at azachieve-tempearc.org and sign up to become a member.
Yeah, and I will definitely attach that website to this video so you guys can, have that available, and definitely go there and check that out. All right, well, Ryan, that's all we got for today. So, thanks for joining us, and come back again sometime.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.